Alrighty, guys. Welcome to Satiated Finance. Um, in this YouTube channel, video, I'll be talking about assets. So I'll just go over the different types of assets that I'm aware exist. I'm sure there are more, but if there are more, feel free to add in the comment section down below. Let's get started. Okay, 401k. So what's 401k? It's a tax advantaged or tax deferred type thing, account provided by your employer, right? There's less taxes now, but there's fees and taxes upon withdrawal, right? So you're just putting off taxes till later. Okay, there's annuity. Annuity is predictable income, and you're betting against the actuaries from an insurance company that you do not die soon. So pretty much what you're saying is, hey, insurance company, I'll give you a lump sum of cash. Maybe I'll give you my house or something. Okay, whatever. But now you, the insurance company, are responsible for um uh paying me every month or something. So you're trading out a lump sum of cash for incremental payments. So yeah. The actuaries at insurance companies are very smart and they have the numbers, so I'm not sure if you can beat them by doing this. Another one is art. So art is out of prying eyes and it's hard to value. So, money laundering. Some people could do that, right? Then there's bonds, right? Bonds is about, hey, I'm going to loan you money now and you're going to pay me interest. So bonds, if you loan to the US federal government, you're going to lose to inflation. And then they have like I bonds from the federal government. But again, like I said, the federal government likes to underreport the inflation. Also, there's taxes on that. I think maybe the federal government won't tax you on your I bonds, but maybe the state will, like state of whatever state you're in. Okay. All right, let's talk about cars. So cars, you could say it's an asset because it drives you places, but a lot of people think they're liabilities because they cost you money, and gas costs money too. If you have an electric car, well, electricity is going to cost you too. Then there's cash and cash equivalents. So I'm talking about like cat like cash or like some kind of certification that represents cash. And this is pretty liquid, but of course lose to inflation. There's uh, certificate of deposit. You can get better interest rate than just a bank account doing this. But again, you lose to inflation, right? So slightly better than a savings account. Then there's collectibles, right? So you get sentimental value. Um, and an example of a collectible might be paper dollar bills 500 and above. So these days, people only use paper dollar bills up to $100. So if you start seeing stuff like if you have like a $500 bill or above, then uh, it's almost like it's not money anymore. It's like something you collect. But there's different types of collectibles out there, right? Then there's commodities. Okay, commodities are ingredients for other things. So we're talking about like wheat, we're talking about rice, we're talking about sugar, just different things like that. Um, then there's crypto, right? So high return possibility if you can convince people to jump in, right? So what you can do is you can say, hey, everyone, this crypto is going to the moon, and you already loaded up with lots of that crypto. So people jump in and you unload your bag, and then now they're left holding the bag, and you make it out rich, right? So that's how you can make it in crypto. But fundamentally, there's no underlying tangible asset. It's not like a real thing. It's more like a digital token. Let's talk about decentralized. So decentralized, there's a lot of different things that are decentralized. Crypto is one of them. So yeah, it's accessible anywhere. I put without two-factor authentication. I think for crypto, it's you just need to know your key to your crypto wallet, and you can access it anywhere. But for other types of decentralized stuff, I'm not aware of what they are. Then there's digital stuff, right? So anything that's available on the internet, uh, like crypto, okay, that's lightweight, I guess. Or I guess digital cash on your bank account could be considered digital as well. As you may or may not see, a lot of these categories start to overlap each other. This one, digital cash, easy to move, stuck in a digital banking system. Okay. Farmland. Farmland produces food. Farmland has property taxes. I believe Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos own lots of farmland. And in the future, maybe the um, farmable land or arable land or whatever it's called, basically the land that can be used for farming is there should be less and less of it. So I guess that's why investors are pumping this bubble up. All right, let's talk about food. Okay? Food resolves hunger, it takes up space, and it perishes. Right? You leave your wheat in a warehouse, it's gonna go bad. Forex currencies. So it's easy to lose money, all right? So I remember I used to follow this guy called Jerry Feta, I believe. Feta. Um, and actually I still follow him, but yeah. He lost a lot of money in this tycoon trading Alaska situation where basically this I won't go too much into it, but pretty much the foreign exchange fund it lost money. Like it was trading Forex. I don't know. It seems kind of risky to me. This one is called futures, right? So it's contracts for the future value of things. Then there's gasoline, which can be used for powering machines in doomsday scenarios, and it takes up space and it can blow up. All right. There's gold. Gold safe haven asset when the world goes to shit. Otherwise, you're just holding a block of shiny yellow rock. Okay, let's talk about HSA, high yield savings account, right? No, not high yield savings account. That's different. This is health savings account, right? So no federal tax, but if you live in California, I believe you get taxed on it for California state tax. California state tax, not e-state tax, California state tax. And this says can only buy HSA approved items. So this is stuff that are like maybe some medicine stuff or some like personal hygiene stuff, maybe I'm not too sure. Okay. Then there's index fund. The goal here is not to lose too much money. It's to follow the stock market and try to match it. And it cannot be used to get rich, right? So a lot of people think that index funds is going to make you rich. That's not true. Actually, index fund just try to help you not get poor, right? That's the idea. Um, and people are like, oh, index fund, so cool, right? Compound interest. Well, let me tell you something. I was reading this book by MJ DeMarco, and it was talking about compound inflation, right? So you got compound interest. I mean, not compound interest. I guess it was called like the compound effect or something, right? You have the compound effect, but you also have compound inflation. It kind of cancels out. You're making zero money pretty much, but hopefully you don't get poor. But I mean, not inflation. Index funds one of the probably most highest return investment or asset type things that I know of. Um, okay, index universal life insurance. So this is worse than the S&P 500 because the gains are capped and the losses are capped, right? And the fees grow over time. The older you get, the more the fees. And this is indexed with the stock market, and the cost can really grow out of control. So I don't recommend IUL, Index Universal Life Insurance. Then there's individual stocks, right? High chance of growth, and but you can go where you have no more, but you can have no more money, like if your stock goes to zero, right? And this is volatile, and your emotions get all caught up. There's insurance, semi-liquid. I think I'm trying to refer here to like whole life insurance or something where you can like borrow out of it, borrow money from it, but you have to repay your policy or something. Maybe only rich people use whole life insurance. Okay, interest bearing. You get interest payments. Okay, next. IRA. So this is less flexible and there's fees upon withdrawal. So this is kind of like same idea as 401k. You're going to defer your taxes until later. You're going to let your uh, stock grow in your Wall Street uh, until you decide to take it out, and then boom, you have a tax bill. Luxury bag, like Hermes or something. Folding bikes, cars, luxury watches, right? That's cool. Rolex, whatever. Fun to play with. Could be a waste of money though. And there was a while some of these things were booming, but they were a bubble, right? Mutual funds, more expensive than ETFs. Okay, next. NFT, written on the blockchain and anyone can create one. Options and contracts, large swings in value, SOXL go to zero. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about this, right? So people trade auctions on the stock market or something, right? Uh, and I'll tell you that's pretty dangerous. I know someone, right? I know a person that pretty much they bought SOXL. It's like a semiconductor um, triple leverage ETF. And what happened was they bought it and the stock went up, which was great. But then the stock crashed and they got screwed because they were playing with their, I don't know, like I think it was like 401k money or IRA money, and they were buying this SOXL. And then what happened is they lost so much money that they had to, they actually owed money in taxes. It's kind of crazy. These kind of things like triple leverage ETF or whatever, it's extremely dangerous. And the longer you hold it, the more likely they go to zero. And they're only for day trading purposes, so you should never hold them um, for longer than a day, I think. Uh, I could talk a little bit more about that, but not for now, okay? Paper money, okay? So, like I said, unless you have a $10,000 bill or a $100,000 bill, and I literally mean a dollar bill that says that kind of a face value on it, okay? You're not going to beat S&P 500, right? These are collectibles. And this is not digital, right? Just paper money in general, not digital, and you lose to inflation. Cool. Let's talk about peer-to-peer lending, okay? So you can make interest income. It's on the private market, so it might not be that safe because it's for accredited investors. Public, I'm not public, physical, sorry, my bad. Physical is something you can touch, and precious metals are out of prying eyes. They're hard to move, and they're really heavy. I don't know why I put out of prying eyes. Maybe you can like hide it in your basement or something. I don't know. I forgot why I put that. Privacy coins, also out of prying eyes. Oh, this one I understand why. Okay. Privacy coins, no one knows you own crypto. You walk around on the street, no one knows you own it, okay? Privacy coins, like uh I think it's like Monero and Pirate Chain or some stuff like that. Um, the blockchain isn't visible, right? So you can't really tell who is sending money to who. Whereas for something like a Bitcoin, you know that address A is sending money to address B. You don't know who address A is, you don't know who address B is, but if you find out who they actually are, who's address A and who's address B, I mean, you know who's sending money to who. Okay. All right. Like I said, it's a type of crypto, so no underlying tangible asset. Private equity. So this is about leveraging companies and using debt, right? So you borrow the private equity fund raises a lot of money and it uses that money to buy a company and forces the company to pay off its own debt that was used to buy it. Okay, real estate. So this is a proven asset. It's existed for thousands of years. People have lived in houses for thousands of years, and it's got, property tax. This one's REIT. It's like the real estate. It's like the stock version of real estate. Roth 401k is the same thing as 401k, except you pay the taxes now. Um, and when you take it out, you don't need to pay taxes. And I don't even think you need to pay. I'm not even sure if you need to pay capital gains, actually. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, and also, there used to be these things called required minimum distributions on for Roth 401k, but they stopped existing. I think it's like 2024 and after, they don't exist. But basically, the money that you put into a Roth 401k before that year, by the time you hit some age in the future, I forgot what age it was, like 65 or 70 or something, I forgot. But when you hit a certain age, you're forced to take out money uh, from your Roth 401k or else you get punished. Uh, but I think, yeah, it's this rule is kind of going away for the new money that you contribute after this year of 2024. Roth IRA, taxes upon contribution, right? But when you take it out, no taxes, and there's fees, right? Fees, how? Well, you're using Wall Street. Wall Street's going to charge you fees. Let's talk about royalty. So if you publish a book, let's say you're like a Harry Potter author or something, um, then you got ongoing income as long as the book is popular. But the thing is, you need to write a book or you need to produce something, uh, maybe like a music or something that you can license it out that people are going to pay you royalties. Sector ETFs, so just as stocks basically, but for a particular sector like healthcare, uh, real estate, utilities, consumer staples, etc. And you can control your allocation to sector targets. So you can say like, hey, I particularly I like the S&P 500, great, but I also want to allocate a little bit more to a healthcare sector because I think people are going to get old and more old people in the future. Okay, then you can buy like a healthcare ETF or something. So stocks. So stocks are liquid. That's great. Let's talk about tax advantage. So what's tax advantage? So this one's called HSA, avoid tax, blah, blah, blah. So what I'm trying to say here is that some accounts are tax advantage, like HSA, for example. People say it's like triple tax savings or something, whatever. And the idea here is that if you put money into an HSA, when you put money in, you don't get taxed. When you take money in, you don't get taxed. You own, like, I guess it's really nice. But the only thing is you have to buy HSA approved items. I want to talk about this FSA, okay? So FSA is kind of shit, right? So FSA sucks because if you max it out and you were laid off, like my dad, then the company just kept the money. So what happened here is my dad, for the previous year, had to use a lot of money, right? So, uh, I mean, for healthcare related, right? For my mom and my family and whatever, they had to use a lot of FSA the year before because the company didn't provide HSA. So we're left with FSA, right? So the previous year, lots of lots of cost to health, right? So this year, what they did is okay. My dad was like, okay, this year let's put in a lot of money for FSA because last year we spent a lot of money with healthcare. This year we will, and then boom, my dad put in what like 2,000, 3,000, I don't know, put in a lot of money and boom, that's it. Got laid off just like that. Company kept all the money. So FSA is really shit. I don't recommend it. If you can do HSA, um, that's more recommended. I think you have to have a high deductible health plan though to do HSA. Yeah. This one's called tax deferred, right? So anything where you skip taxes for now is tax deferred. There's also traditional business is a type of asset. So if it makes you money, then I guess it's like an income producing asset. And of course, you need to run the business. So that's one of the costs to it. And then there's treasury bonds, which is a most popular cash equivalent. And then there's water, which is definitely an asset. It resolves thirst, and it's hard to acquire physically. So it's hard to own a reservoir. So you can buy like a water ETF or something, but yeah, to actually own like a lake or something, it's pretty difficult. And I talked about this a little bit earlier in the insurance section, but I'll talk about it again. And this is whole life insurance. And the thing about this one is that you can borrow against it, right? Um, but you have to pay it back with what you borrow. Like you can't just borrow and not pay back. You definitely need to pay it back to the insurance company. This one's called main. Well, I guess if you don't pay, you get, there's consequences. There's a maintenance fee. There's agent commissions. It's not very transparent how the costs work inside of a whole life insurance a plan. So I don't know. And there's also paid up additions means living on borrowed time, but you only keep the death benefit. So whole life insurance has two parts to it. It's got um, the death benefit, which is the money that your beneficiary gets if you die, and then there's also the cash value part. So you can temporarily boost the cash value part by doing a paid up addition. Um, yeah, but that's it. These are all the assets I've come up with for now. Quite an extensive list, but I'm sure that there are more assets out there that you can think of. But that'll be it for the video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have any ideas, more asset ideas or whatever, leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And I'll see you next time.